one of the biggest questions or comments I get is, do I make more money with the step deck or the flatbed? And honestly, in my experience at Mercer, flatbed's the way to go. But we'll talk about that here in a bit. All right, we're in Elba, Alabama at the Dorsy factory. These are all brand new Dorsy trailers waiting to get picked up and delivered. It's been 6 months since we got our aluminum giant low profile step deck, and it's time to turn it in back to Dorsy. You can see we got all our tarps and everything, equipment. We're gonna bobtail back up to Louisville, pick up my trailer. I still own my trailer. I get a lot of questions if I still have my trailer. I still have my trailer. It was a learning experience with the step deck, and I appreciate Dorsy letting me use it. I hate returning it. It's a little dirty, but it's been 6 months. So you see all the trailers over here. We'll walk over here. They got some interesting trailers. Look at this thing here. It's galvanized 3-axle trailer. Look at that. It's kind of neat to look at the trailers. Well, this is a stretch. It's a stretch trailer. See all the air coils in there? That's what that is. Wow, that's, huh. So if you look right there, you can see the seam where the frame slides. Look up in there, you can see where the frame slides. That's pretty cool. Dorsy is starting to get into the log trailer business too. Here's one of their models. They have a newer model in the back there. We're gonna go take a look at that, but it's even got a lift axle on the log trailer. Every little bit helps saving on the fuel. Now you guys that watched well, it'll be about 6 months ago, I made a video about the these integrated ramps. So this is a combo. So combo means steel frame, aluminum deck. Save a little bit of weight. But these are these stowawayable ramps. They're a pretty cool system there. Pick up, set down. Then they had an order for a custom double drop. Dorsy trailer can just about customize anything. So got a pretty simple, tough double drop trailer. And these are made for, you know, pretty specific freight. So company constantly hauling. They don't need an RGN. They don't need all that other mess. They just need a double drop to get the height. Some good looking 3-axle combos back there. We'll take a look at those. Got some 3-axle combo giants with the custom paint. It's a pretty blue. I like that blue. Got the aluminum landing gear. These they got built in. They can almost customize anything. What you need. Got a wood floor, aluminum sides. Pretty interesting. All right, we're out here behind the factory. The factory goes way down there. If you go back about 6 months ago, I did a little walkthrough tour of the factory. But Dorsy's starting to get into the log trailers, and they were showing me this trailer here. This is their new model, and they were describing, I think he called this a grappler hook. So he set out in the forest or wherever they're at. The grappler can grab this piece of metal and move the trailer if they need to. So they beefed that up. But he was telling me everything. I don't know too much about log trailers, but they have really thought a lot into this trailer here. They covered one little thing is they found other models. This was bending right here, so they put a cap on this right here. All made of heavy grade steel. Call it the Timber Giant. So if you notice, all of the trailer lines at Dorsy are like, I have an aluminum giant, they have the combo giant. So they're calling their new log trailers the Timber Giant. But he was explaining all the how they're beefing up these trailers here. One thing he was talking about were the winches. A lot of other companies will weld the winch to the side of the trailer, and then if the winch gets damaged, it's hard to replace. So they've opted to bolt the winches on there. So if the winch gets damaged, and that the winch is for when they drop the logs down in there and they throw the strap over. Look at that pin. Anyway, pretty impressive. And the way the landing gear works, truck hooks up, and then the landing gear actually winds up. You know, these log trailers have to be made to be tough and simple, and that's tough and simple right there. Anyway, I just wanted to show you some of the little stuff. We dropped the trailer off. We're getting ready to head back up to Louisville. We got about 500 miles up to Louisville, and then we're gonna hook up to my flatbed. There's your train for today. All right, we're up here in Wisconsin now. It's Saturday. We're in Wisconsin. Wisconsin's got some nice rest areas, nice big rest area. We dropped the step deck off back at Dorsey. I had the step deck for about 6 months. It was time to turn it in. We swung by Louisville, picked up my trailer. Now for you guys, I told you guys before, the step deck was, Dorsey was nice enough to let me use it. This is my trailer here. I own this trailer. Dorsey gave me a couple boxes, and I put some boxes on the trailer. So I did that. Checked the trailer out. I had to run the trailer through Mercer inspection, make sure everything was good to go. It passed inspection. So it's dirty, needs a bath. It'd been sitting for about 6 months while I was using the step deck. So it's a little dirty. We'll clean it. We loaded this Friday afternoon. Big old chunk of steel. It's about 22,000 pounds on the trailer, going up to Wausau, Wisconsin. There's the other box. So I put 2 boxes on. And then on the other side, I'm eventually going to put a dunnage rack on the other side. Got a chain on the front of our steel there. Truck's doing good. No major issues. We just stopped. I got to take Bailey out. She's up in the window up there. But let me take care of Bailey, get set up. I wanted to talk to you guys about the difference or my experience with the step deck and freight. One of the biggest questions or comments I get is, do I make more money with the step deck or the flatbed? So I had the Dorsey step deck for 6 months, and I'll give you a couple comparisons between the 2 trailers besides the obvious. That step deck is really light. I hooked up to this trailer, and the step deck's only about 1,000 pounds heavier, and that's with all the ramps and everything else on it, than my flatbed. So that Dorsey step deck is really light, and it rides good. I had made the comment back when I first picked up the trailer of how smooth it rode with the load in the center of the trailer. I picked up this big piece of steel, and the flatbed's a little more stiffer going down the road. You could feel it. That step deck rode really nice. One thing I did like about the step deck, it has that auto inflation system, tire monitoring system on the tires, and that's a great peace of mind. Have that. So couple good things about the step deck. Had no problems with it. Did good with the trailer. So now the comparison between loads and step deck loads and flatbed loads, and like I said, one of the biggest comments I get is which one's better, how do you make more money, stuff like that. So I can only speak for Mercer. I started at Mercer. I've been there 14 years now. I started with a flatbed at Mercer, and I would see step deck freight on the board. Now there are basically 3 categories on the Mercer board. You have flatbed, which is strictly flatbed freight. You have what I call either or freight, which is flat or step deck. And then you have step deck freight. So probably the last 6 months pulling a step deck, I might have pulled maybe 20 to 30% step deck freight. The rest of it was what I call either or freight. It was for flatbed or step deck. When you look at the board, there is flatbed freight, step deck freight, and then either or freight. There's a lot of either or freight, but there is more flatbed freight than there is step deck freight. And like I said, I'm speaking for Mercer. I felt I was missing loads. I was missing the flatbed loads, just the strictly flatbed loads, compared to either or loads and step deck loads. As for rates, to be honest with you, there wasn't a huge difference between a flatbed or either or load and a step deck load. And you would think there would be a bigger gap, a better rate for just a step deck load. Step deck's considered a specialized trailer. So the military was the best for the rates on step deck loads. I couldn't find a customer at Mercer that just strictly wanted step decks, so I couldn't find a steady supply of step deck freight. It was really hit and miss. Now there's guys at Mercer that have step deck. They do great. A lot of what they're doing is port stuff. They're going to California, so I'm not knocking it, but me personally, it wasn't fitting for me at Mercer. So like I said, money wise, I didn't see much difference, and I felt that the loads that I lost having a step deck compared to having a flatbed did not make up for the amount of money I made on step deck loads. So if that makes sense. So it was a learning experience for me. If I were to buy another trailer, I would buy me a 53-foot aluminum flatbed. I'm seeing more and more freight on the board, and it's paying more than regular flatbed freight. So anyway, that's the great debate. You're going to run into guys, they're going to tell you, oh, step deck, oh, flatbed, this and that. My experience at Mercer was Mercer is a flatbed company, and yes, they have step deck freight, but in my opinion, not enough to really justify it. But I appreciate Dorsy for giving me the opportunity to pull a step deck. Never pulled a step deck before, so that was a great learning experience for me, how to operate a step deck, stuff like that. So I really appreciate that. And you know, Dorsy still sponsors me. Everything's fine. When we initially did the trailer deal, it was only supposed to be for 6 months, and it's been 6 months. It's actually been a little over 6 months. So I had a load going down to Panama City. I called Dorsy, and it worked out good. Dorsy's only 100 miles away from Panama City in Elba, Alabama. So I swung by the factory, dropped the step deck off, and then went up to Louisville and picked up my flat. As for YouTube side, I know I'm talking a lot, I'm sorry. As for YouTube side, I find it harder to film on long runs, and the step decks ended up being longer runs. When all I'm doing is driving every day, there's not a lot going on. I wake up, I make a pot of coffee, I get in the truck, and I take off. I stop for fuel, drive my 10 hours, and we're done for the night. With the flatbed, I'm going to try to do more shorter stuff, on and off, on and off, on and off. That was a little harder with the step deck to find those kind of loads that pay good, short distance, 200 or 300 miles. So that's what I'm going to try to up my game up here on YouTube, because I know I've kind of let it go for the last month or so. But we got the windows up. It's hot in here. Bailey's starting to get hot. I know I've been rambling for a while, but I appreciate Dorsy giving me the opportunity to pull the step deck. It was great. It's a great trailer. I tried to find ramp loads too. I know I'm talking more. I tried to find loads to use the ramps and stuff like that, and I just couldn't find them. Like I said, the most fun I had with the step deck was hauling the military freight, putting Army trucks on. That was a lot of fun, dealing with the Army trucks. I enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun. And I had a load of tractors, John Deere tractors, and that was fun too. All right, that's it. We're back to flatbed, and we'll see. Crank out some videos. I appreciate you guys watching, and appreciate Dorsy giving me the opportunity to pull that aluminum giant step deck. Thanks for watching.